Hey everybody, Ryan McCaffrey with IGN. I'm joined by fellow Halo Wars superfan, recognize Brian Albert.
Thanks for the props. It's
Absolutely.
true. It's true.
We are two. I mean, there are a number of Halo Wars fans here at IGN. You and
As
I
there
are,
should be.
Yeah, two of the biggest. Halo Wars was a great game, very underrated. It took Halo and made it into the strategy game that it was originally conceived as.
Yep, it was
Full circle.
and it was built for consoles, so it worked well.
Built for
It's
the
really
Xbox
fun.
360.
Good Halo story to kind of wrap it all together and bring people in who don't normally play the genre. And now we have Halo Wars 2 coming. I guess they don't have actually a release date in the trailer, do they?
Well, they talk holiday
2016.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, what's interesting about this is kind of a surprise for many reasons, and first and foremost is that the developer of the original, Ensemble Studios, a renowned strategy game studio, makers of Age of Empires, which is why Microsoft bought Ensemble, was like, hey, this Age of Empires thing's pretty good. Let's own
Let's
that.
take that. Well, they disbanded.
They were shut down by Microsoft. Microsoft announced they were closing the studio before the game even shipped, before Halo Wars even shipped, which couldn't have been good for morale over there.
Still, they made a great game.
They made a great game, arguably the best console control scheme for a strategy game that we've seen yet.
Yeah.
The controls on a gamepad for Halo Wars are really, really good. They're very intuitive, but they get the job done without really nerfing or dumbing the experience down.
Yeah, and the game is balanced around the level of control you have.
Yes.
So you never really feel out of like it's out of your hands.
Yeah, great way to put it. So Halo Wars 2, I didn't think it would ever happen largely for that reason, but Microsoft has found a great partner on paper, Creative Assembly, guys, the Total War guys, a team that has a great strategy pedigree.
Yeah, and even recently has made great Total War games. So it's not like, oh, these guys used to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still doing it.
Still getting it done. And, of course, most recently they did Alien Isolation, which many
not
people
an RTS.
loved. Yeah, not an RTS. So let's go through here and see what we can glean. Now, Bonnie Ross, the head of 343, did say that this game continues the story of Halo Wars 2, which I interpret to mean as we will not see the Prometheans in here. Nothing from the Halo 4 and forward era of the Halo universe.
If it's a direct continuation, then this is still about 20 years before Halo 1.
Correct.
So in the beginning, it was us talking, but you can hear them saying, "Hey, we're Red Team. We've been hit."
Yeah.
And in Halo Wars, I want to point out, Red Team was this group of 3 Spartans who you played as in single player.
Yes.
It was Jerome, Alice, and Douglas, and
Good
they
memory.
all. I looked that up, Ryan. Don't give me too much credit.
Shh. Good memory.
Good memory. But spoilers, if you didn't play Halo Wars, none of them die at the end. So
What?
It makes sense that they're all, because you see 3
Yeah.
Spartans here. So I think that's who we're looking at. It seems
Yeah,
pretty
you can
clear.
see their red shoulder.
Yep.
The part of the charm of the first game too was the good story presented incredibly well in CG cinematic cutscenes
From Blur.
from Blur.
Doing what they do best.
Gotta wonder if this is Blur again here
I
too.
think so. It looks fantastic.
It's too good, right?
Yeah.
This brute chieftain.
Oh, he's terrifying. So at the beginning, it looks like, okay, one Spartan's had a bad time. This guy's being dragged.
Okay.
And then the other Spartans, well, let's get there.
Something
Hit us. There, you can see the feet there.
Carrying
They're walking
him.
backwards.
Yeah.
The other guy there.
Yep.
Or it could be Alice. It could be a female.
Tough to tell.
But yeah, they're obviously retreating.
Yeah, there's all 3 of them.
Yep. This Spartan doesn't have a helmet on, which is a pretty rare thing for Spartan. And here it's super quick cuts, but I think you see a shotgun in the background there for sure.
Correct.
If we go a little more.
Wait. Just trying to see what we can see here.
There we go. That's a brute.
Yeah.
That's much larger than an elite. We know from like the books and stuff that Spartans and elites are roughly the same strength, but Spartans versus brutes, still not a contest, despite all their augmentations and their armor.
Well, and these also, remember, the other thing that leads me to believe that this is Halo, still, it's the older, pre-Halo, the Halo Wars timeline, is these are Spartan 2s.
Yep.
You can very much tell that they're
members of
2s.
the class that started with Master Chief. So they There were like 75 of them, I believe.
Guy is messed up.
Yeah, no, he's not having a good time. Can we stop? Let's see.
Where do you need to be here?
I wanted to point out. There's a point where a Spartan gets
bullets.
knocked away from the brute. Okay, out of ammo. And let's
him
stop
up.
right about there, if you don't mind. Going back a little
Okay.
bit. So in Halo Wars, you could pick from 3 Covenant leaders to play as, and one of them was a Brute Chieftain. It wasn't just, I think he was just an unnamed
Right.
guy, but he had a giant gravity hammer, as Brutes do.
In multiplayer, you're talking about.
In multiplayer, yes. There was no Covenant,
There was no Covenant campaign.
which I hope there is in Halo Wars 2.
Yes.
But he had a gravity hammer. It glowed blue instead of red, but this looks a lot like it. I think it extends out into like a longer pull. I don't know. The weapon was cool. It had like this vortex ability that sucked everything in
goes.
and shot it out. I think it's just him powering it up and looking all cool.
Yeah.
Has a penchant for the red, though.
Sure does. And he's against red team.
He is. Run. Yeah, he says, run, little demons. And, of course, in the Halo games, the Covenant constantly refers to Master Chief as the demon. So maybe he doesn't respect these Spartans quite as much.
Seems like not.
Other than that, he doesn't look familiar. There's only a few
No.
brutes that I know by name. In this, it's like Tartarus or whatever, but this is a different guy.
Tartarus is dead, FYI.
Shh,
Although I guess
spoilers.
not in this timeline.
No, not yet. He's still good here.
Windows 10 version, not a surprise. It's a strategy game, so it is going to be on Windows 10 as well, which of course means keyboard and mouse support. It'll be optimized for that. The question is, we know that Phil Spencer said that keyboard and mouse support is on the to-do list for Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
You wonder if Halo Wars 2 will support keyboard and mouse, presumably on the Xbox One version, but I'm really hoping that it just has the same exact
That's what I'm
gamepad
wondering
controls.
about, because if I'm playing this on an Xbox One, I want pretty much the same controls that were in Halo Wars.
I do too.
But on PC,
Pretty different
it would
controls.
still work, but you would have if you had more control options, you would just play the game differently.
Very true.
You'd have a lot more like precise movements,
Yeah.
or smaller unit groups or things.
Yeah, it'll be
I don't know.
It'll be
It'll be tough
interesting
to
to
see,
see
yeah.
how the game is designed with that balance in mind. But this made me so happy for them to close out the conference with this. I'm so happy this game's coming back.
Yeah, this is such a good one just for the fans. Like I don't think anyone was like Halo Wars 2 coming in 2016. I don't think anyone really called this.
Not really.
But people wanted it, and I think there was a lot of good stuff in the first game, a lot of areas for improvement, and I really
yeah,
hope
let's
that
get that
happens.
Covenant campaign on the single player side.
maybe a third campaign
flood.
too, yeah.
Yeah, similar to the StarCraft model. So
Yep.
can't wait. We will have much, much more on Halo Wars 2 as its fall 2016 release date nears. For all things Halo Wars, you're already in the right place right here at IGN.